the fact that she's so close to us in market areas, I think gives her a great sense of relevance for us to listen to today. And the couple of things I've asked Jess to talk about are her community involvement and how that feeds her lead generation system. And there was another question, Jessica, that people would look to you for advice on what to do first as a newer agent. What's your advice to newer agents to become successful? So we're going to just, and then the other thing is, how do you use social media? So if you just kind of blend those things, I know you can talk all day.
Yeah, I was like, these are kind of loaded questions, guys, and a lot of things that you're going to build all in one. This could be like a day-long class. So I will shoot rapid fire at you if you want. And if you guys want to kind of work together, we can do that too. Debbie, you tell me how you want this to work. And I just want to give to you so you guys get some nuggets you can actually take away from this and implement in your business, if that's all right with you.
Super. Perfect.
Mm-hmm. All right, awesome. Well, I'm Jess Starr with KW in West Hartford, like she said. My office is actually located in Simsbury, Connecticut. We actually have a giant market share in Simsbury. And our team is broken up throughout the state. So I think we're up to 10 team members now. We just made a bunch of hires recently, which is great. People are showing up and they're talent. So it's time to add them, especially because we have the leads coming in from all those Facebook ads that we've been doing through Command. So where would you like me to start? What topic first? Because there's a bunch of them.
So I think talk about your community involvement and some of the things that have evolved in the last year with that.
Sure. Well, one of the things that really kind of sets us apart is we do multiple events a year. We do client events, charity events, and community events. So client events would be, forever clients, people that we have A+ client events, and those are people that have done multiple deals for us, and they could have done one deal once but referred 5 people to us, right? So we consider them forever clients. If there's like an everybody kind of client event, well, that could be somebody that just did a deal that year, right? And obviously things changed for all of us with COVID this year, so we had to pivot and figure out how we were going to do things differently. We then have our charity events, and we do a lot of food drives, physically distanced food drives, and ice cream socials, and caravans and stuff like that. And then community events. So last year, let me start with the community event, okay? And this is a great way to start for you guys because this cost me basically nothing, and it was just something I thought of to give back. And where you're located, you're not that far from the shore either, so this might help. So I want it to be different. My goal is to always be different and not the normal agents. And I always want to give back in a way that's going to improve somebody. So what I try to do is think of my own family first and think of stuff that we like, think of stuff that we'd want to do, or think of friends and what they might want to do too. So what we did when making our calendar was we wanted to first set up a bunch of events, some small, some very large. And listen, sometimes the secret sauce is in the small events. I know you'll see a lot of big teams go, well, I have a couple hundred people and blah, blah, blah. I'm not that way. So I don't know, but I think you have a better connection with people, and you may even get more referrals from people if you have more of a one-on-one contact. So that's just my feeling, and I might be different than everybody else, but that's okay. So the first thing we did was we had done in January last year, and what I can do for you guys if you want, just don't tell everybody, is I can share my marketing calendar with you that I did for Fall Masterminds. Would you like that?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll share my marketing calendar with you guys so you can see what we did. It's going to actually show you both. I think I'll have Steven send it to you after this, Debbie, so you can share it with everybody. But what we did was, number one, we set out a calendar and we said, okay, in January, we want to do these mailers. We want to do this event. We want to do these calls. And you're on any event you're going to do, you're going to call around the event, right? You're going to do social media posts on the event. So January was very simple. All we did was a toiletry and coat drive for a local shelter. And we just had them drop it off, and we did a lot of social media pieces on it. I did Facebook Lives, Guess what? The best part? Free. The event was free. The Facebook Lives are free. People shared it because you're doing good. So create some fun hashtags. Like we could do SRG gives back, like Starr Realty Group is our team name. So Starr Realty Group gives back, give where you live, love where you live, care, serve, give. Those are fun hashtags. I hope you're writing this down. And I see Debbie's recording it, so that's probably good for you because I talk really fast. So just tell me to slow down if I need to. I just want to give you info. So that was number one. That was in January. In February, we said, well, what else could we do? And I had these two little boys. I have 4 kiddos at home. We're a single income family. My husband's a stay-at-home dad after a traumatic accident at work. Luckily, he's fine now, but he's a stay-at-home dad. And so nobody tell me you can't do it. I have 4 kids. We're a single income house. Got it? If you're having a negative mindset around it, I want you to call me. I'll give you my number. Because we've been through a heck of a lot. So I want to inspire some of you to think differently. So the next event we did in February was a boater's license. Like, Jess, you sell real estate. Why would you do a boater's license class? See, I have these 2 boys. They're both Boy Scouts. And I thought to myself, someday I want to buy a house on the shore. And guess what? I want to make sure those kids are safe. We are always near water. So if I'm going to do an event where I'm going to pay for it anyway, right, to get them licensed, and we want to make sure we're licensed. Rhode Island, you don't need it, but in Connecticut, you do. And basically, if you get licensed in Connecticut for almost anything, it's good throughout the world because Connecticut's so tough on just about everything. So I found this guy who did a boater's license class, and he would come to you. So the big issue for a lot of people getting their boater's license was they didn't want to go to wherever the location was that had it, at least in our area. Simsbury, people like to stay in Simsbury. It's probably similar in the Ridgefield area, right? We're homebodies. And, so they didn't want to go travel. They didn't want to go multiple nights a week. They didn't want to get the class done because it was inconvenient, but they wanted to take it. So when our local fire department would do it, and my husband was a part of the fire department and I'm on the auxiliary, people would sign up. So I thought to myself, well, okay. And it usually costs about $100. So I negotiated with the guy and I said, how about you do it for my people at $75? So he took 25 bucks off. I said, how about you come to my location and I'll bring all the people to you? He said, okay, Jess. Then I asked my mortgage guy, hey, would you just be willing to buy some pizzas for us? Well, sure, Jess, that's fine. No problem. And it was only like a 15 person event. Like I wanted it small. My kids were getting licensed too, so why the heck not? I got them a discount too, right? And then I set out goodies. So I did in Connecticut, remember we had the grocery bag thing where we had to pay 5 cents. And who wants to pay 5 cents for a bag? Darn it, I'm not paying, or 10 cents, right? I'm not paying for it. I'll stick these bananas on my shoulder and walk out. So I literally had grocery bags made. So branded bags for our team. So write these things down. What things set you apart? It might sound really stupid. Guess what gets carried everywhere? A stinking grocery bag. Guess what costs next to nothing to have branded and made? A grocery bag. One lesson though, when they're making your bags for you, because I did not ask this, they will print, they'll give you the price for only one side. So ask that they do both sides when you're doing it.
Yep.
So we had that, and then we put a bunch of other little swag in there. Like we had grippers made that were next to nothing. They said, I'll grab one and I'll show you in a second. But so we put those in there and a couple other, hats and goodies and stuff that we had just because we were thankful that they came, and why not wear our swag and be grateful. And the only thing I asked, I said, hey, if you guys ever have any real estate needs, just keep me in mind. We'd be so grateful for your Google reviews. I know you didn't do any real estate with us today, but here's the thing. We do a lot to give back to our community to make sure you're safe, and we do a lot with charity. So if you wouldn't mind just talking about that on Google for us, we'd be so grateful. You want to know what happened? With Google, here's the secret sauce. All of a sudden, we started getting buyers and seller leads from Google. It's weird, right? Nobody's doing that. So I don't know, last week we got an $800,000 buyer, $400,000 seller, $700,000 seller, $800,000 buyer. last
And
week.
it's all from Google and from these people putting a review or a recommendation for you on Google.
Right. And so Google is also tied, like we have our clients do Google reviews too, but like I'll ask you guys after we're done, if you think you got any value from me today, I don't take any money for this. And it is my time, which is valuable, I hope you think. So if you have referrals, keep us in mind. And if you could also give us a Google review, amazing. And just talk about, what we talked about, talk about the class, talk about that kind of stuff. That's fine, because it's good to see that you're a multifaceted person and individual, that you care about others, that you give back, right? So think about your reviews in a different way. Everybody's like, yes, Nicole sold my house. She did a great job and blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, great. She did her job. What did Nicole do differently? Well, she stood in the basement at the walkthrough when the boiler broke, called her husband to have it come serviced, and made sure that they did X, Y, and Z. And when she pinky swore a promise that this was going to happen, you felt like Poppy and Trolls was doing it. Well, that's what happened with me, right? So you want your reviews to feel like people are like shouting your name from the rooftops because they feel that you're that passionate about it. Does that make sense?
One thing that shows up for you, Jess, certainly, is your passion for what you do. And just tell the story about your Christmas event. And then I want to get into your campaigns because you have crushed it with campaigns. But tell that Christmas story because it was heartrending to me.
So I woke up I'll give you a little background to this. I have crazy ideas sometimes, friends, but you know what? Sometimes be willing to be different. And sometimes you have these visions or thoughts or dreams, right? And they happen and you don't know why. So Thanksgiving, we had actually bought that beach house after that boaters class, by the way. And so we
And the
stayed at our
boater
beach.
class was last year, right? It was 2020. Your
Yeah.
boater class occurred in 2020.
February 2020.
Oh boy. Wow.
So in March, we had Mulan. This is ironic. Talk about ironic. We had Mulan planned. They closed Disney. They canceled Mulan. COVID hit all the same day. And so we're like, how are we going to pivot? We'll do a virtual movie event where we drop off popcorn and candy and do X, Y, and Z. And then we'll send them all a certificate to watch the movie online, So that's what we did. When the year before we had done The Lion King, and to surprise my clients, I had the original Pumbaa show up. So, and then the best part about it, you guys, so he happened to live in town. I have to tell you this one thing, then I'll tell you the Christmas one. So he happened to live in town. I met him as a brand new agent. So for you new agents out there, don't think you don't make an impact, okay? This guy walked into my open house when I was at Prudential before I came to Keller Williams. I was 25 years old. I started when I was 23. I'm 41. And he walks in and I'm like, God, you look familiar. I don't know why. You look so familiar to me. And we had this great conversation. I remember his dog's name was Pickles. They needed some water, whatever else. This is how many years ago? I remember his dog's name was Pickles. It was a golden retriever. How do you know your people? How well do you know your people? I only met him at an open house. So when I tell you I know people, I make it a point to really invest in them in our conversation and know about them. And maybe I can't always remember a name, but I'm going to remember something about them that's going to make an impact. So how do you make an impact? That's a question you should ask yourself. So as he leaves, I'm like, how do I know this? I know him. He's like, nope, we never met, blah, blah, blah. He leaves and I go, he's Leon Carosi from Saved by the Bell. I'm a total 80s, 90s kid. I know this. He was in Saved by the Bell. Well, fast forward, he moves to town. He had a good friend that was his agent then. And he's lived here for years and years. And he's done a ton of stuff. So I've met him throughout my travels and we've always said hello and whatever else. So I ask him, in bold, we're taught this lesson. Ask and it is given, seek and ye shall find. For those who ask, much is given, and those who seek is findeth. I was doing this Lion King event and I was terrified because all I wanted to do was ask him to come and just surprise our clients, because I'm always doing the surprise and delight is what we call it. What's the extra thing to make it extra that they're going to be talking about it that like would just never happen for them, right? And we were coming back from vacation. We had the event on the weekend. And I said to my husband, I just want Pumbaa to come. And he's like, well, what are you going to have him do? I'm like, sign autographs, sing with me. I don't know, anything. And he's like, what? I said, the clients will love it. And he's like, come on, Jess. So I emailed a friend who knew him. on the way back, and I said, would you just ask Ernie if he wouldn't mind coming and just doing something for us? And she's like, okay, sure. I get an email back 15 minutes later. Sorry, he's unavailable this weekend. Thanks so much for asking. I said, Colleen, thank you for asking. Would you please come and bring your grandkids? I'm so grateful you'd even ask. Please tell him if his plans change, invite he and his wife, Cheryl, to come, because I remembered his wife's name. 15 minutes after that, I get an email back. Ernie's plans change. He'd love nothing more than to be there with you. He'll see you at 9:45. He did not charge me. He came. He walked in and he said, it's so fortunate you reached out, Jess. You always tell everybody you're the Disney of real estate, and we think you are too. You have the best reputation in town. We want you to be our agent. We need to sell our house. He was the first one. I was like, ah! And then he came and he literally sang Hakuna Matata with me. I'm such a nerd. I'm going to geek out about this. He sang Hakuna Matata with me. He signed autographs with everybody. As he sang, he goes, Jess, would you play the part of Timon? I'm like, Ernie, typically I'm Pumbaa, but in this case, I'll allow it. And then watches the movie with us. It was so great. And like our clients still talk about that.
Yeah.
So how can you be different? For Mulan, we had somebody set up to come and teach lessons on doing different techniques with sword fighting and somebody to dress up as Mulan. We had gifts all set. Like that's what we were going to do for the movie premiere. So think differently. So hopefully, is any of this helpful to you? If it's not, please tell me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And how about, so Christmas, go to Christmas.
I woke up Thanksgiving morning. I rolled over to my husband and I said, babe, people just need joy. Everybody's heart is so very sad right now, and I can feel it. I'm a big empath. I'm like, we need joy and we need to spread joy. And I know Christmas is going to be different and it's going to be hard for me. And I think the only way it's not going to be hard is if I spread joy more than anybody else. And we're going to be Mr. and Mrs. Claus. And he's like, babe, I'm like, you can say no now, but you know I typically win. And he's like, okay, fine. So I created this entire plan where, number one, at our pie event that we still did physically distanced, we did it all outside in November. We always start our charity typically for Connecticut Children's Medical Center. But because of COVID, they weren't collecting toys. So and we collect like 500 toys for them every year. And so I was like, well, we're not doing a charity. We're just going to find something else. So we found the Village for Families and Children, which is an amazing organization. Not only would they take toys, they would take food, they would take toiletries, they would take used clothing. Like nobody wants to take even used clothing. They're kind of snotty about it now. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I go on Amazon real quick Thanksgiving weekend before my husband changes his mind and order Mr. and Mrs. Claus outfits because I'm doing it with him. And I then was like, you know what? We need to think even bigger. So I get the Mrs. Claus outfit, try it on. And then my heart was just so full. I decided to do a Facebook Live. So I did a Facebook Live just to my own page. And then I shared it in my local Simsbury Neighbors Helping Neighbors page, which we have a big market share here in Simsbury, and they know us. And that this is how they know us, some of the ways they know us, right? It's not, I also post my coming soon listings when I do a quick video saying, hey guys, I'm standing at this great property, but I do this too. And so this is what makes people remember you. So I did it in my Mrs. Claus outfit. And I said, look, they're willing to take X, Y, and Z. I am so grateful. Our clients from our pie event have already donated so many things. My entire office is full. So I think the other thing, hold on one second. You do not ask on Zoom. Go, please. I have homeschoolers asking for cookies. This is what they do behind the scenes. Do you feel my pain? Anybody? We had so much stuff collected. It was unbelievable. So I did this video and I shared it in a couple local area groups. After that, the response was overwhelming. When I say overwhelming, we also closed down our offices simultaneously. So I private messaged people my home address and said, you can drop everything off at my house. I set up places so they could drop stuff at the house. People brought stuff up to 2 weeks after Christmas. They were still bringing stuff. We brought 5 carloads of a minivan and Suburbans full to the village. And they said, Jess, we have never had somebody donate as much stuff as you did. I said, I didn't realize the impact we had. What kind of impact do you have in your community? Sometimes, to you new agents, I'm talking to you too. Sometimes some of us think that we're just so little and we're just starting out and we don't have the impact, but you have a voice and you might not have money and you might not have, but there's ways, and we have so much social media that's free. So who do you have that's a cheerleader in your community if you're not the cheerleader yet? Who do you have that can be your cheerleader? What business can you support that can then support you and share these amazing activities? So when I was doing this, I then said, well, we collected so much stuff. We also, as a team, then decided we were going to do physically distanced Mr. and Mrs. Claus photo shoots with our in-house photographer for our clients. So we set up 20 different photo shoots where we just came and we knocked on the door and we visited 20 clients and we brought our photographer with us and he took pictures. And the kids that didn't get to see Mr. and Mrs. Claus or Mr. Claus all year were so excited. You know, you had a couple of them go, huh, well, you don't look exactly like Santa. Your beard's real and you've got a little darker under here, or you've got whatever else. Because my husband, I mean, he makes a pretty good Santa. What really helped was it's all about the details. Like I told you guys prior to going out, my assistants were in the car with us. We all wore masks and we showed up the way we needed to. We took pictures distanced apart, or we would wear our masks depending on how the people wanted to do it. We also collected food at the same time. We said, hey, if you're in the mood and you're able to, we'd be happy to collect food for the local Simsbury food pantry as well. They're low again. We have collected food 5 times for the food pantry this year. So we always tie a charity to every event that we do. So, and that visiting these families came from one of my clients. That same morning I woke up and said, we're going to be Mr. and Mrs. Claus. I happened to still be in bed and look at Facebook like so many of us do. And as I did, I saw her status update and say how sad she was that her kids weren't going to be able to see Santa this year because of COVID. And I was like, oh, they're going to see Santa. We're going to make it happen. So it was awesome to be able to give that back to our community too. And then of course, what do you think happens from that, you guys? Anyone? They share it. So they took pictures, they put it on Facebook, they tagged Starr Realty Group, they tagged Jessica Starr and whatever else they could. And they're like, what realtor does this for their clients to make sure that they had the magic of Christmas? Because it's all about creating magic wherever we can. We create a client experience, whether they're with us this year, next year, or 20 years from now. We want to create a client experience so we have clients for life. So that's how we go about doing it. And did that cost us a ton? A couple Santa outfits. I had Amazon points. We have an in-house photographer, luckily now, that does marketing for us. So he also came with us, but you could hire somebody to do it. You could also ask them to donate their time to do it too. We also made sure that photographer came with us. We dropped everything off at the village. So he took pictures. We then wrote a free press release. You guys have your pens and paper ready? I'm going to drop some nuggets right now. Are you getting stuff from this?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So the press release, I want you to know some things. I have a degree in marketing and communications from Quinnipiac. So why this is important is there's some things you can do media wise that's actually absolutely free. Did you know that?
Yeah.
A press release is free. Can somebody on here, this is the participation portion of our program, tell me what a press release is?
It's just a statement with information that you provide to the press.
Right. So, but they're not always going to share it if you're kind of boring about it, right?
Story.
So you're not just making a statement, you're making an impact. Write that down.
Mhm.
How do I make an impact with my statement? So the title of our article was Local Realtor Brings Joy to Her Community.
Do you use Starr for that, Jess?
What's that?
Do you use Starr situation? You know, the problem, the approach, and the results in the press release?
Oh, no, actually. So that's not a bad idea. And obviously you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure, please.
So no, I'd love you to tell us about that.
Oh, no, I mean, I was just thinking about the STAR approach in talking to people where you actually end up with the impact that you made. Like, I used to manage a team of 150 people in Europe. You know, we had this huge project, multi-level, multi-year project, multi-million, and you have to keep them motivated. Okay, so you have a situation, you have your problem, or you have your new result you want to achieve, and then you create a whole approach with steps. You know, you celebrate successes, you also celebrate fast fails. You know, but then the result, you have like Friday breakfast and I don't know what not. You know, but then at the end of the day, the results were that we delivered in time, delivered within budget, with a recurrent savings of over 15 million a year.
Yep.
You know, and the team was happy. Nobody left.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. If you do a press release, is that the approach you take? You're like, oh, like just make people happy, or just brought joy. You know, this was the situation. This is how we did it, and look at the result.
Let me see if I can actually, hang on one second. I bet you I can find it for you real quick. So I'll tell you what we did. One of the things that I learned in the book, Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller, which was talked about at Fall Masterminds. He was our speaker. If any of you participated, I hope you did. It was really awesome because what he talks about is how many of us as realtors want to be the hero? Who likes being a hero?
But that's not the right role.
Right. And so I think one thing, you know, we have been the number one team. We have been the number one team in the millionaire real estate for years and years and years. And our numbers fell a little bit, but we also don't have a 25 member team. And I'm okay with that. We brought joy to a lot of people and we were profitable. We gave back. Great. It's not about me. It's about what my clients say about us. It's about their experience. And I think the one thing that always puts me off the most, even though a lot of those people are my friends, is when people are shouting from the rooftops, their volume, their units, how great they did. It's awesome to see some of that for the other realtors. But let's think about this, guys. And maybe in Connecticut, it's a little different, although some agents aren't. You know what's probably really hard for a lot of people right now? Those people that are losing family members, and those people that are losing their jobs, and those people that don't have money, that we're going to probably see a decent amount of foreclosures at some point too, or short sales because of that. But when we have agents bragging about that, or bragging about what they did, where they're going, the fabulous trips they're taking, I'm very cautious about certain stuff that I put on social media for that reason, because you do, whether you know it or not, you're under a microscope. So you want to be wary of certain things that you put out there. That's just my 2 cents. And I'm always going to say it. And I could be totally wrong. But if you come from telling not just like, hey, I had 10 sales this week and 10 closings this week. Tell a story about why this sale was great, right? What was the struggle? How were you their guide? How were they the hero in the end? How did you get the best solution? And what were your results? Did you write that down? That's huge. I'm going to just see if I can find this real quick. Hang on.
What I hear you saying, which is the story, building a story brand, is they are always the hero. And if there's one thing to take away, it's always taking yourself out of the center of the story and putting them into the center of the story.
Right.
And what I hear you saying is you start everything with empathy and thinking about how you can be a help to your community, to your specific clients. And that is a fabulous, I'll call it a formula for just building success and building reputation.
Yeah.
Again, it's not about you. You're not doing it for you. You're doing it for the results you can bring to your community. That's the genuineness of it. Yeah.
And here's the best part about it. You're giving back in such a big way by doing these other things, by thinking of other people before yourself. I'm also being a great example to my kids, to my team, to their children. And my goal is to teach people to think differently, right? Teach our clients' children to think differently. When my clients' kids come and see us, they run up to us with the biggest hugs. So excited to see us. Like, you know, they're excited for the community events. They're excited for the charity events. They're excited for the client events. Guess what's going to happen as those kids get older? I am now, because it's been 17 years, I'm 41 now. I am now getting calls from some of my first clients saying, hey, Cody is old enough now, and I think he wants to get into real estate. There's nobody else I want him to talk to but you.
Mhm.
Do you know what an honor that is? Or like, hey, my mom and dad, you know, my dad passed away. Can you come sell his house? I know you just sold my brothers and my sisters and my,
Mhm.
like, yeah, I just sold 8 different family members' houses within a family. Like, how amazing is that? So those are clients for life.
And then I'm going to ask you to pivot just a bit and talk about your discovery of campaigns and what
Sure.
that has done for your business, and particularly how you have created the conversion that you have using campaigns.
So go make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's just youtube.com/Starr Realty Group, 2 R's in Starr. There is a video on there that I did with Nick Baldwin. It's also on his channel, but it's probably easier to find on mine. It's one of his highest ranked videos, all about the campaigns. The first I came about this because I was at family reunion last year, just before the pandemic, right? And I heard Gary and Josh talking about this girl who ran ads and didn't know she had leads and blah blah blah. And all of a sudden, I look at the 2 team members that were with me at the event, and I go, "Ha! This sounds a lot like us." You know, we ran that one ad that one time, and I don't know where those leads went. And this might sound silly. I'm a fairly intelligent person, but you know, with command, everybody talks at a certain level, right? I like to dumb it down to like, hey, what area means that's my leads? Tell me that. That's all I care about. Great. Then we can work on, okay, what's our cost per lead? What's this? You know, awesome. But in the end, where's our leads? They're right there. How many did we convert? Oh, we converted 7 of the X amount. Great. In 49 days. And that equaled how much in commission? Oh, $1 million in commission. Great. I mean, or in you know, sales, whatever it was. Awesome. So I break it down that way, so it's very reasonable. So if you go to my YouTube channel, there is a video that Nick Baldwin and I did on there. Watch that, and it'll break all of that down for you and be super, super simple. And if you need any help, you know, figuring out how to come up with ideas, because you could always advertise listings, right? You can always advertise an open house. If you guys are smart, and let's say you're a new agent and you don't have any listings and you're like, well, what the heck am I going to advertise, right? I don't want to use a Facebook ad. You should. Couldn't you do, Kimberly Meserve is doing amazing buyer consults and seminars over social media, and then using them to do digital buyer presentations for large groups of people, all from the comfort of her own home and in mass quantity. So we have this opportunity because of the pandemic to do things so completely differently now, that although it's probably, you know, a little nerve-wracking because it's change and a lot of us don't like change, it is also extremely exciting as well. So if you can, you know, figure out a way that you can host a buyer seminar, figure out a way that you could host a seminar talking about veterans benefits and VA home loans with your local lender. You could do a boosted sponsored ad around that. You could do an ad that's evergreen. So an evergreen ad is an ad that you're going to do that could last a very long time. So I had the pleasure of speaking to Gary Keller's mastermind. I get to be in it pretty often. I don't think I'm in it officially, but I'm in it a lot. So I don't know. I just need to be a permanent invite, but either way, they had me teach them. So I guess that's a blessing. This year, Nick and I were talking about Facebook ads. I had sent Gary a copy of the book, 1 Million Followers, and told him to read that book. And Brendan Kane is the author of it. So get that book, 1 Million Followers. I talk about it on every Zoom I do. I created a system, and it's just an Excel spreadsheet. And all it is it talks about, so I could track my ads that I was doing to see how we were getting results. And if you're just starting out, this is perfect because you're starting from ground zero, right? So basically what I did was I said, okay, I created a tab that said ad sets, SETS, I created another tab on the bottom that said insights. And let's say the third tab is, clients. And then the fourth could be renters, because there are a lot of rental leads that come in on there too. But keep in mind, rental leads turn into business at some point too. If it's not just rental leads, they could turn and do a rent. They will buy at some point too, and they know people. So don't just poo-poo the renters. Take those renters, get them a place, ask them who they know. You're missing a big opportunity by not taking them. We still take renters. So, and your price point, you should take renters. So Simsbury has a good rental market here too. So under the ad sets, what I would do on the headers up there is I would say copy. So whatever you're going to have is your ad copy, right? I might have target location. So you could do like your radius from, 0 to 20 miles is like what they let you do. So you could do it tighter, 10 miles up to 20 out. Then I might do expert targeting. So when you do expert targeting, you would select, Zillow, mortgages, condos, whatever you can think of that would have to deal with home buying, right? But let's say you're selling a luxury home. Let's talk about that. This is like my rapid fire lessons for you guys on so many things. So let's talk about a luxury home. Let's pretend we're going to do a Facebook ad on a luxury home that's waterfront. Okay. I want you guys to play with me. So you got to participate. If you're going to do a Facebook ad on a luxury home that's waterfront, let's think of some expert targeting categories we may be able to select. What might you select in order to do that? Voted. Good. What else?
Sailing.
Sailing.
Sailing, yes. What else?
Exercise.
Yep. So what I'm trying to get you guys to do as a marketer, I want you to put on a marketing hat now, not a realtor hat, because technically your job is actually to market their home. It is not to sell their home. Your job is to market their home. If you market their home correctly, you'll be able to sell their home. And right now, with as fast as the market is moving, we are all missing a huge, huge opportunity. Can I tell you what it is? How many of you take a listing, put it on the market, it gets multiple offers, you sell it within a couple of days and you're good? Most of us?
Yeah.
Then you get to brag about it on Facebook. Hey, I sold this in multiple offers. Guess what? You're not a hero. Sorry, bad news. But I want to tell you how to get more business. Is that okay? So what I would do is I would take your listing, I'd hold it for 2 weeks while they get it ready. I would do some coming soon videos. In Connecticut here, and I don't know if it's by you, but I would imagine we're allowed to do a coming soon period up to 14 days. I know Greater Hartford MLS is that way. So if you can do it for 14 days, all you need is at least one picture for the front. So get one picture for the front, or have them give you a picture. If it's a crummy time of year, they might have one that's prettier, right? Always feel free to ask them for that, or take one of the kitchen or whatever else until you have one. Then you can do a video, right? Talking about the property, standing in your favorite part of the property, whether that's the backyard, whether that's the kitchen or the family room, and tease about it. You would put that on Facebook, on Instagram, on your story. You could do some teasers with bits and pieces of the house, right? Then you're going to put it on Facebook and then into multiple different groups, because see, this is what we do. Then if you wanted to, although you have to build a landing page, so we're finding it a little difficult to do a coming soon ad because you have to build a landing page and it's not working well with KW yet. So until I get around this, I'll tell you what my plan is, but what ideally I would do is build a Facebook ad, and we haven't done it yet, but it's our goal, around a coming soon listing. The reason we haven't done it yet is because the landing page doesn't have a live link, because our MLS in the coming soon category doesn't link live to command. Right, Debbie? So
Correct.
that's annoying. So we're building another website to tie in with command, but so then tie it there, because then you're going to capture a bunch of leads in there before it hits the market. But what you could do is say, do you want to see all of Connecticut's hottest properties prior to them hitting the market? Click here to find out more. And then you set up a search and you get them to, get a search range or something like that.
May I make a suggestion to you?
Yes.
Do a preview and just a tease preview video and use that as the listing, the link for that. Do it as a video landing page rather than the listing itself.
Can we do that?
Yes. Yeah.
How did I not? I
Right.
always do video anyway. How did I not think to just put that on the landing page?
Try that.
Oh, oh, now I'm so excited. Thank you. This is awesome. So
Still
then
use the Facebook. Do you still use the Facebook lead form
so Facebook
though?
yep, you can use a Facebook lead capture form. We have a whole like best practices too. So if you want, Deb, you can send me an
Landing
email.
page.
Yeah.
I know
I
a lot of that. I find with the ads, it kicks out a lot of the landing pages you try to put in. So if you do try to list it to a like hottest properties of Connecticut, can you drop an MLS hyperlink in there?
No,
No.
your own site.
You
Yep.
do it, you basically, what you'll
Okay.
do, you'll set up a search on your own site. And so you could do a search. The only thing I don't think Command lets us do yet, because this is what I wanted to do. And I'm in the Command lab, so I'm trying to push for it. So I want them to let us select coming soon and temp as well, because those aren't showing yet, right? So if we can select those two categories and do a search with just those two categories, and then do an ad around that, come on.
That's great. Yeah, that would be great.
Or do you want to see the hottest properties in the last 7 days with the best value, just reduced? You know, think about that. So you do anything that's reduced within this price bracket, you know, under 500,000 in Ridgefield, just reduced.
Right.
So think about putting that marketing hat on. Is this helpful at all?
Yes. Super
Huge.
helpful.
Absolutely, yes.
So, so that's what I would do with some of that. So we also got into the expert targeting. We also started using emojis too. So you can tell I'm pretty colorful, and I want things to stand out. So just like with the new app Clubhouse, emojis help you stand out and help you be searchable. Did you write that down? If you're not in Clubhouse, emojis help you be searchable. So you can find me on Clubhouse. I think it's Jessica C. Starr. You cannot DM anybody on Clubhouse, by the way, or direct message them for those of you that don't know, but you can send them messages through Instagram. So I'll give you my Instagram stuff too. So make sure you follow us all over the place. Because then you can also steal our stuff. Go for it. Like, just repurpose it and make it your own. Just give credit where credit's due. That's all I ask. But we're not completely original. I try to be, and yet, you know, somebody else probably had a great idea. And so we just R&D'd it, which means rip off and duplicate, friends. So if you want to find us on Instagram, it's at Starr Realty Group CT. And like I said, we cover a large territory in Connecticut. We don't cover your territory, but we do cover almost the entire state because of where I have my team members positioned throughout the state. So I don't just say like other teams that we cover it because we can drive there. I have team members that actually live in the area that can tell you where to get your haircut and go to the doctor and do blah, 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 right? Because that matters. Just taking leads to take leads is not cool. So what else can I tell you? So we did the expert targeting, emojis. So if you decide to use emojis in your ads, we did the emojis. I decided to Google's your best friend, top emojis of 2020. I mean, how difficult was that? I'm not a rocket scientist here, friends. So we did that. And then what else? Let me think. So then I also, anybody that we have, like we're having a conversation with, I put on the client sheet, and we put when their buyer broker is signed, when they're pre-approved, we put what the amount they're pre-approved for. We change it when they've gone under contract, so we know. So we know how much revenue we've gotten from these ads. I think I spent like, at the time that I did the video with Nick, it was like $800 or something like that. And we had 8 pieces of business.
Yeah, it was like, yeah.
And the income was like $80,000.
Yeah.
Now I'm remembering it. I'm like, because I did a few of them. It was like 80,000. So that's, I mean, and I did that because when Gary Keller did that story about the girl that didn't know, well, let me go back to that. So we quickly pull up Command as we're sitting in the audience, and we're like, well, let's see the one ad that we did. And we only did it because our market center had an incentive at like Thanksgiving. So this is February. And they offered to cover our market center fee if we did an ad kind of thing. So it was the same cost, but they just wanted us to get out there. So we did it. And I look and I was like, oh my God, we had like 50 leads in this ad. And we didn't get back to one of them. So,
And so what are you doing now for your follow-up for those leads? You have smart plans in place? Are you just calling them? Are you, what's your best system?
well, it's like any lead that you have come in. So our team standard is 5 to 10 minutes. Longer than that, it's too long. They moved on.
Right.
So, and look, guys, if my team isn't doing it, I'm doing it. I don't ask them to do anything I wouldn't do. So I'm not the leader that says, you do this, I'm going to go over here and be on vacation. I literally do what I say. So we do have smart plans that are set up as well. And we're working on those to get better, honestly, but we're kind of like boots on the ground people. So that lead comes in, call, text, email, all three right then. Then what we do is whatever we send in email, we cut and copy that email because unfortunately command doesn't just transcribe it there and put it in the notes section. We also say like, hey, send Debbie this message, blah, 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 Jess. Because if you're on a team, it's good to know who did what in case somebody leaves a team, in case something gets assigned somewhere else. Like let's say they're looking in Simsbury and then they decide to go to New Haven. So I'm going to give it to my partner, Jen, right? Because she lives there. So, you know, that's how we do that. So then we'll set a reminder if the smart plan isn't set up, follow up in 2 days, follow up in a week based on what they say, send them info on lender, you know, all that kind of stuff. And if they haven't responded that day, guess what gets put in as a reminder for tomorrow? Call, text, email. So basically, some of them might not respond for quite a while. Like an internet lead could be a long time, but if you get those Facebook leads on there as soon as they come in, God, they almost all of them will pick up. And granted, some of them are like, oh, I was just looking at it, I want to talk. Okay, great. So here's the thing. You just need to have a conversation with somebody. We talk about scripts. It's really a conversation. So I come from the idea that, hey, I want to find out what you liked about this ad. You know, Randy, when I set this ad up, would you mind just giving me some feedback? I understand you're not looking at a house right now, but can you tell me why you chose to click on that ad? Because I want to make sure I get more people just like you that are interested in looking at properties. And Randy, when you were thinking about selling your home or buying your next home, what would make you do that? Do you like the house you're in now? Oh yeah, we're just renting, but we have to be here for 3 years. Great. So would you want to buy if the right opportunity came along? Yeah, but our credit kind of stinks. Perfect. Let me connect you with our credit repair guy. Would it be all right if I just touch base with you in about 6 months just to see how you're doing on that? Sure. Nobody cares about us. We're just renters. Like, so that's how that goes.
Awesome. So you have spent an hour with us, Jess. I thought you would spend 30 minutes. I'm so glad you gave us the extra time.
And well, I was like, you asked so many questions. There's so many things in there.
Yeah. Does she have enough energy? You know what? I didn't think there was anybody who could out Jason Abrams. You might do it.
Aw,
Next to Jason Abrams.
that's funny. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Does anybody have, let's take 1 or 2 questions.
Yeah, I'm open.
And then we'll let Jessica go on to her lunch.
I have 10 minutes, so I can.
Okay, cool.
I have a quick question. First of all, Jessica, I love your energy, and I just love how like you were getting emotional talking about some of these stories. Like it's just so sweet. You can feel that you care. I love that. Question is about the press releases.
Yeah.
So, and I did like check out your site and everything, and I'm following you and everything now. But anyway, so when you write the press release, is the goal to get it into the paper verbatim as it is, or ideally to pique their interest to have them write an article about it? Like what, because really you don't want it to look too self-serving, right?
Well, so the thing is, sometimes they will just do it if it's good enough. And ours, they just printed, which was great. I thought for sure they would edit it, and they didn't.
But
And
does it like put your name on the byline? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I didn't even look to see if they,
Because I wouldn't want them to do it. You know what I mean? If they want to print it, great. But I wouldn't want it to be like,
I actually didn't even care about that. Funny,
Yeah.
I didn't even look. But our marketing, so this is also a funny thing. So you'll find out sometimes I interview people at length, and sometimes you don't realize what talents people on your team have. So our marketing guy, like I'm teaching him all these marketing things. He's actually a photographer. He was Lance Loken's photographer, and Lance connected him to us when he came up here. So, and I said, we don't have enough right now to keep you busy with pictures like Lance does, but we certainly have enough pictures that you can take. Yet, would you be interested in learning about marketing? And I'll teach you personally. And it's kind of my passion. So he did. Well, come to find out, he's a writer. He wrote this article. And I was like, John, you wrote this? He's like, yeah. I'm like, why did you not tell me in the whole interview process that you could copyright? Like this, he's good. So, yeah, to me, it didn't matter as much, to be honest with you, whose name was on it. What mattered was that it got the press. And even better, we actually had another press release done by the village itself.
That's,
So they sent one out as well.
oh.
Yeah.
Can I just share, sorry, I don't want to monopolize this stuff, but can I just share one cool thing that literally happened to me like right before this call, which is so topical?
Yeah.
So I have an open house that I'm doing this weekend for another agent. It's not my listing, and I have a business page and it doesn't get a lot of traffic. And it's, oh, come see this open house or whatever. So I decided to put the meme of Bernie Sanders in the open house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, even Bernie is excited about this weekend's open house. And like a couple people have shared it, and my engagement on that post is already like 10 times what it normally is. So
Yeah.
I just added the hashtag, and I'm like, well, maybe I'll get more exposure. So it's very fun.
So look at local trends and see what's happening. So in our Insta story, we're actually pretty fun on the Insta story.
Mhm.
Probably be surprised to see this. So we try to keep it professional, like on the wall. And then on the story, we like do quizzes, and they could totally not be about real estate. It could be your favorite movie or vacation or something else. But we want to keep it fun and engaging. And then we encourage our team members, like, hey, if you're showing, take a picture of the front of the house or something fun in the house. Always tag the location, write this down, tag the location, because there's people that look up the locations. Got it? And also people that are watching will go, I didn't know you're going to go show in, wherever, Hebron. I didn't know. I thought you were just in Simsbury. You're in, Groton. You're in, yeah, we actually do. We're all over the place because of X, Y, and Z. And then also always tag your team name too. So I also have a personal Insta, which is Jessica C. Starr, my maiden name. So I will tag and share some of the team stuff on that page as well, just so you know. But and you can also use certain hashtags too, so that you come up in those searches too, like CT Homes for Sale, right? Zillow, Zillow sucks, whatever. Like that actually comes up a lot. So, and there's a way on Instagram. You guys, I hope you got lots of notes from this, because this is like, so on Instagram, if you want to use hashtags, so they'll help you build your following organically, right? Which there's a lot of people that can pay for followers. I don't. Mine is all organic. So I think that's better, because you get people that are local. Again, to each his own. There's something to be said for paid. I also like to lead with revenue. So that matters to me. So look up hashtags that are, have a bunch of different groups of hashtags. I think you can do up to 30 whenever you do a post. So do them, that have a following of between 10,000 and 25,000, 25 and 75, 100,000 plus, and then 1 million. So you want to do a certain like number of them. And the 1 million plus, the point for anybody that doesn't do Instagram, your post is going to show up in those groups with those hashtags. But if there's 1 million, 2 million followers, it's going to be like a blip, and another thing is going to come up for it. But if there's 10,000 posts about it, you're going to show up a lot more on that, right? So think about that. So if there's 100,000 posts, you're going to show up a lot more on that. Make sense?
Absolutely. Great. That's a good idea.
We've had people ask to join our team because of our Insta stories, because they say we have fun. Because I'll even put bloopers, like I do coming soon videos all the time. And I'll put like me swallowing a bug, or like laughing about something, or like, but people like to work with people that are fun and have good energy too. So too many people are too serious and take themselves too seriously. and show how you're loving on your client, or you're doing a pop by, or you're doing, you know, whatever it might be. Document your day that way. There.
Super.
And they'll print, so the press release, I'm looking at some of the stuff on the chat. Oh, yep, you got the Instagram. And on Facebook, it's just facebook.com/Starr Realty Group. So you have that. YouTube /Starr Realty Group. So
Good.
subscribe to that. You'll see a bunch of videos with the coming soon videos. Some are older. We're updating that actually. And thumbnails are the key when you're making videos.
Oh, yeah. Good. Yeah. Another question for Jessica?
I have two questions for her, please.
Yes, go.
So I'm Jessica. I'm looking at your Instagram right now, and I wanted to ask you. You have a post in there that it is from a different realty company. For this, did you have to ask the other company to post this on your Instagram?
So it depends on what we're posting, and I'm not sure which one you're referencing, but a lot of times either we'll tag them or we'll do, like, if it's a picture from somebody else, we'll do a emoji of a camera and then say, you know, the Lucas Howard group or Tony Baroni team or something like that if it was from one of theirs. I don't know, because that one could be one that one of my photographers did, but my marketing guy, but he usually knows who's what to share.
Oh, okay.
How to share what and tag what, because I had done a video on Disney as I was down there, because that's one of our passions. And I was like, hey, make a thumbnail with this picture. He goes, oh, we don't want to do that because they can sue you. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Who knew? So
Yeah, and that's the question about my other question regarding taking a picture of a property that we are going to show. I'm very hesitant about doing that because I don't want to get any legal actions against me, because if somebody told me that we need to ask permission from the property owners to do that before we even.
if you're doing a video inside, if you're taking the exterior picture of a property, Google can take a picture of it.
Right.
So the exterior is fine, but the interior we need to request a permission.
That sounds
Yeah,
good.
technically, yes. But if you're taking a picture of their fireplace, like, or bathtub, or like you like their countertop,
Always heard is, unless it's something identifiably unique, you're at this.
you could have on us there.
Lost that.
I was going to mention too, if you ever look, there's a group of women, and they're in Austin, Texas, and their Instagram is Open House Austin. And they post every single day in their stories, and they just do, how much do you think this house is? You know, they do all the polls. How much would you pay for this? How much do you think it's sold for? Guess how, you know, they just post everything. And it's so, I'm sucked in every day, and I'm like, oh my God, these women kill it. And then they have a little pop-up Airstream trailer, and they hold seminars, and they're like, we're hosting today, come, we're gonna have anybody have questions for first-time home buyers, come today, we'll answer all your questions. And they do it every weekend.
So here's the thing. So this is how you think differently. So I love, like, I'll do buyer tour number 1, which house do they pick? Or this episode of House Hunters, today we're going out with blah, 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 and blah, 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 Erica and Vital, and we're going to see, you know, and I asked them obviously beforehand, I'm like, hey, you guys want to play House Hunters on Instagram? They're like, yeah, let's have fun. So just make it fun and engaging.
Fun.
Get people to want to share it, and they want to share when you're having fun, right? So doing stuff like that, people love it.
Cool.
Guys, too, if you can, like I asked you in the beginning, super, super grateful if you would be so kind to find Starr Realty Group on Google and give us some feedback or a review. That would be amazing to me. I would be so grateful for that, and always keep us in mind for any outside of your area Connecticut referrals. We would love to help, and if we don't cover it, I'll make sure I connect you with who does.
Excellent. I think everybody enjoyed this session enormously. I know I certainly did. You're wonderful, Jess. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for your time today. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. And
I'm
you
happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
have his contacts, so let's stay in touch.
Yes, I'll put so you guys have it here. I'm going to put our site in the chat, and I'll put my cell. You're going to get the bat line in the chat too. Don't tell my team I did that.
And I want to know, do you know if you're going to be showcased in Family Reunion at this point? Are you doing anything?
I was on masterminds. I've been in Family Reunion on multiple panels. How to have a big business and a big life, the rental one, social media ones. Bunch of them with Wendy and Jay. I don't know if I'm gonna. Usually, I get asked last minute. They've had me on the script showdown like 4 times. I don't think Jason likes me. He didn't pick me the last. I don't know about that voting. I don't believe it, but I don't know for sure just yet if they've decided everybody or not.
Yeah, good. Well, we'll stay in touch and maybe you can let us know if they do ask you at the last minute. But
Yeah.
anytime you see anything with her name on it, you can see it's worth watching.
Oh, thank you. Well, and if you guys get your hands on the bold stuff that happened last time, I did 2 different sections of bold.
Yeah,
It was pretty decent.
it was very good. Yeah, super.
All right, you guys. Thanks for having me.
Okay,
Thank you so much. This was great.
bye-bye.
See you later.
Bye, Jen.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome.